Scoop Show with local superstar realtor Michele Cummins and myself, Curtis Pope. Good morning, Michele.
Good morning, Curtis. How are you?
I am good. I'm feeling relaxed and refreshed. I'm back from vacation. The first thing I got to do is work with you, which is, a nice way to come back to work.
Nice. What bottle of wine did you bring me this year?
Well, you have your choice, I think. There's a few bottles that were in the back of the Escape coming home.
I'll close my eyes, blindfold, any, mine, mo. I might use a few fingers, so maybe I'll get a few bottles.
I like the way you think.
Oh, welcome back.
It is good to be back. Now, of course, while I was away, just before I went away, we had some changes here in the province with restrictions being eased up around different things. Now, I imagine that's probably affected real estate a little bit.
It has. It's so exciting for everyone. Open houses are being allowed again.
Oh, wow.
Yes, so you will be starting to see those come up on the Realtor apps when it says open houses. They'll be there. You'll start seeing the signs out, and it'll start becoming a bit more of the norm again.
That means your weekends are going to be busy again.
Yes, you know what? Every day is a weekend to me. Every day is Saturday. Every day is Sunday.
Actually, I should rephrase that. Weekends are going to be busier again because they've still been busy.
You got it. Oh, and I'm very excited because you didn't know, but I've been training to get my motorcycle license.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm going to take the test next week. Actually, all of my staff, we're all doing it as a group. It's going to be so much fun. So we're going to take the test and then do the driving course. And it should be a lot of fun.
Well, and that's cool because living out in Agassiz, I know a few guys that have motorbikes, and I know that one of the roads they love to ride because it's not as busy and there's great scenery. They love getting on the Low-Eat Highway at Mission and just driving out to just to Hope, just for a short ride.
It's some of the most beautiful terrain, and it's not boring. So there's lots of great views, and if people don't, race or ride too fast and they're careful, it's really beautiful. There is a very sharp, a point on Mount Woodside that every motorcyclist should know about and be very careful.
Yes,
there's a lot of accidents there.
Yeah,
but you know what? It is a gorgeous ride.
Yeah, I know that's the one place that my brother said there was the one sketchy part.
Yes, I have clients that live on that have the 20-acre above it.
Yeah. And,
so they hear it.
Okay, now
something happens.
Now, is Richard getting his license, or has he already got his?
Actually, he's wanting to do it too, so he's doing it too. He has never had his.
Okay, now there's a danger here because now you're adding motorcycles to the vehicles that Richard can buy.
I know. You know what? I don't know. It's a habit. It's hard to break.
And what kind of bike are you going to buy?
Well, I want a small one, because I'm a beginner, and not too heavy because I don't want to fall over and not be able to pick it up. So I don't want to fall over at all. But, I'm thinking about a little Yamaha or a Suzuki, not a Suzuki, Triumph, or I don't know, just something with low kilometers, not too spendy, and something light.
Okay, that makes sense. Well, if anybody out there has a bike that they want to sell,
yes.
Go to Michelle's website, send her an email.
Yes, please.
Well, that's very cool. I used to have that urge to get a motorcycle, but then when I was living up north, moved back down here, and there's just so much traffic. I was like, I don't know.
I know. And you know what? I'm just going to do it for cruising. Just, when you just need to get away and just feel not the wind through your hair because your hair would be back. But I just always wanted to do it for 20 years. So finally I'm just going to do it because life is short and just do things that's been on your heart and mind. So, and it's funny because I was talking to Christine Allen and then we were all talking at the last staff lunch meeting that we had, and everyone was like, I've been wanting to do it too. I've been wanting to do it too. So we all was like, let's all do it together. And so we just booked it and we're making it happen. So it's a lot of fun. And I wanted to bring up Brad Viss, our MP for the mission and the writing, the big area of ours anyways. He actually had been promoting, I follow him on Facebook and such, and there's Bill C 208. I don't know if people know about this, but this is an important one, and it has to do with real estate and us as family members and humans, and it's a very good one. It'll remove remove the unfair tax burden families face when transferring a farm or business to their children. So there's so many aspects and so many things to do with taxes and, transferring names on title that people just don't even think about. Or if you live on an acreage and there's GST implications or capital gains, and then there's all these things that you don't know unless you know. And this is one of the things that a lot of people feel is unfair. And so hopefully, and this is a good thing, and there's some good things happening at the government levels right now for real estate, and that's one that I'm very happy about. And so I wanted to mention that, Bill C-208. And this first segment we're going to talk about, we should get right into the ultimate beginner's guide to investing in real estate.
Okay, that's a good topic. I like that because it's been a very slow and steady climb for me and my wife, but we realized that we've owned 3 houses now. We are borderline investors.
Exactly. And there's 8 tips I'm going to share. And then after the break, when we come back, we're going to talk about how much equity can I use to buy a second home and what is home equity. So financing options for buying that second property or third property or whatnot. So without further ado, how to start investing in real estate. So while it may be a great time and idea to invest in real estate, it's often easier said than done. As those that have done it in the beginning, everything in the beginning is harder. Once you get going, you got your 10,000 hours, so to speak. It's easier. But these are 8 tips that will influence your strategy and help set you up for success. So I have a saying, and it's unlocking your real estate potential. That's one of my mottos. It's one of my things I love bringing to my clients and helping them out. So let's unlock your real estate potential. So tip number 1 is determining your goals. The first step of real estate investing is determining your goals, and that's not any different than anything in your life, right? So don't get into it blindly. Take the time. An investor's goals should outline what you want out of your investment and guide your next steps. Despite it, many people set very general goals, like, I helped you grow my investment, so let's just do it. Well, you got to consider the SMART goals instead. So that's an acronym, SMART. So the goals are specific. That's the S. The M is measurable. The A is attainable. The R is for relevant. And T is for timed. So SMART goals will help you get a better understanding of what you want out of real estate investing and how you can make that happen. And it will set you up for success. It'll also be fun, and you'll be assured that you will get to the end result that you want, and even better. So let's revise the goal. I hope to grow my investment. So how do you use the SMART strategy with that? So this goal could be, I want my first investment within the first 2 years of buying a rental unit. I hope to have positive cash flow of at least a certain amount, let's say $500. So the goal is specific, it's measurable, it's attainable, and it's relevant, and it's timed. So that's, all in all, it's a great goal. So tip number 2, speak with a seasoned investor. So jumping into investing into real estate can be difficult, and if you have little knowledge on the topic, you can go online, you can listen to a lot of great podcasts out there, but there's nothing like speaking with an experienced real estate investor and using a realtor to help you and use their knowledge, but make sure they are an investor. So you would think realtors are all investors. You would think that, but typically, I don't know, maybe only 5% are or so. I mean, I don't know the exact figures, but I know there's not a lot. So make sure you find a seasoned investor and realtor to help you that you can ask myriad amount of questions to, and they can help you. It's so important. You will be more confident as an investor the more you know. So just dive into it. I've got these 2 beautiful ladies. They're clients and friends of mine, and they just bought another investment condo. We had possession a couple weeks ago, and it's such a beautiful thing seeing them grow grow their investment portfolio and how excited they are and how they're building their wealth. Wonderful. Okay, so tip number 3, become familiar with the market. So the current housing market trends play a complete important role in the real estate investment. It's because it's determined how well an investment you'll do and how quickly you'll do. So this is why every person considering real estate investing should get to know the housing market, its history, and any expected changes. So you know, Curtis, how I love stats.
No, not you.
And next week we will have our stat show. But yes, I am a lover of stats and of history and of, speculation to some degree. So I'm a little bit of a speculator investor, yes, but I kind of I look at all things, right? So you want to know what's happening in the area that you're thinking of purchasing in. So you want to become familiar with how fast the equity grows in that area, what's the future results, the overall community plan for the area, what jobs or schools or what's happening in the future, what's the past, all that good stuff. Tip number 4, get to know your target audience. So important. In real estate investments, a target audience means the demographic that an investor hopes to attract to their rental property and sign as hopefully long-term tenants. This plays an important role in the location and type of property that you purchase. So, for example, an investor that prefers working professionals will need to understand their values and demographics in order to appeal to them. Working professionals typically work long hours in the city or urban area with plentiful jobs. They may also have recently graduated from college or university. I have one of my investment condos right now with those exact couple. And they have not settled down or started a family yet. Investors who would like to appeal to working professionals should choose a small condominium, like I did, or apartment until near an urban area, an urban center. So the unit's proximity to offices could attract many working professionals who don't need a large amount of space. So that's one example. Another example is if you, let's say, have a bachelor suite or something else, going for that single gentleman, or the pipeline workers, amazing tenants, correction institutions, a lot of single female and males, you might have multiple units near a university and it's actually rented out seasonally to university students. That's a good one. There's so many different options. So get to know the area you're thinking of, get to know your target audience, and make sure you purchase the property that is perfect for them. Tip number 5, find the right location. So that's part and parcel with it all. So before searching for properties to purchase, you as an investor should determine what location you'd like. So first of all, are you going to have a property managed, or are you going to manage it yourself? Well, if you're going to manage it yourself, you want something close to home. So find the perfect location and the perfect type of property, and that target that perfect audience tenant for you for that. So think of that. Now, Vancouver, Calgary, Toronto, these cities, typically, if you're wanting to rent out to, let's say, a family who has kids in school, who you think will be there for a long, long time while the kids are growing up, long-term tenants, so you might want to consider 30 minutes out of that city core, because it'll be more rentable, because that's sort of where they're at. So those kind of things you want to consider as well. So it's important. Tip number 6, find the right property. After you have determined your target audience and narrowed down the desired location of your investment property, it's time to find an actual property to purchase. So this definitely can be stressful. You don't want to overthink things. You just want to make sure you have things black and white written down. The numbers are perfect. You've done your schoolwork, your homework here, and you will find the right property. Just make sure that you are working with a realtor who understands your goals as well, and be upfront, be honest, talk about everything, about your future, about what it looks like, all of that, and you'll find the right property for that right investment purchase. Tip number 7, sort out your finances. Okay, so we're going to talk in the second half again about a little bit about that, but buying investment property can be overwhelming when you're thinking of, where am I going to get the money for the down payment? How am I going to sustain it? All of that. And that's why you want to write it all down. People don't know that you are sitting on a pile of cash. A lot of people don't know. So if you have your primary residence, I've always said your primary residence is the start of your real estate portfolio, of your real estate wealth growing up that ladder. So home equity, it's the difference between the value of your home and how much you owe on your mortgage. And lately, everything's been going up so fast, so high, you may be sitting on a lot of home equity that you don't know you have. How do you tap into it? We'll talk about that second portion. But typically, up to 80% of your home equity you can borrow with rates as low as 1.5% right now, depending on how you find those rates and who you go with. But let's talk about that after. And so tip number 8, commercial versus residential real estate investing. So this is so much fun, and it's so diverse. One of the most important decisions you make while investing is whether you would like to invest in residential or commercial. A lot of people start with residential first, then you move to commercial. There's lots of benefits of commercial real estate investing, and when we come back from our break, I think I'll talk a little bit about that before we jump into how to tap into that cash to invest.
All right. Well, people want more information about what you can help them with as a realtor. Where can they go?
MichelleCummins.ca.
We're back with more right after this. Segment number 2 of the Cummins Real Estate Group show with Michele Cummins and myself, Curtis Pope. All right, Michele, now we were moving on to a related topic to our first segment. Now, what are we talking about for the second segment?
Okay, so we're going to dive into how to pull out that equity to use for your second home purchase, or third, or fourth, or fifth, or beyond. But I wanted to chat a bit about the benefits of commercial real estate investing, because we ended our first segment on that. So there's 2 categories of commercial real estate: multi-unit residences or commercial buildings like office buildings, warehouses, and retail spaces. I know we've had a whole segment on investments and different stuff before, but this segment is different than we've done before. So bringing to you. So properties with 5 or more rental units designed for living spaces can be considered commercial real estate. This means that investors who choose to buy condos, duplexes, and quadruplexes are considered commercial property. In contrast, office buildings, warehouses, and retail spaces are the most common commercial real estate buildings, and they typically host a business of some sort. Long-term leases. This is a huge benefit to commercial real estate, so they're known to have longer leases than residential. Residential properties typically have either month-to-month, or maybe a 6-month lease, or a 12-month lease, whereas commercial property leases can last years. In fact, some commercial properties can typically be 5 or even 10-year leases. So commercial real estate's long-term leases can help an investor protect their investment for a relatively long period of time. And it's a bit easier because there's not as much upkeep, because the actual tenant usually takes care of everything. So it's pretty hands-off being a commercial investor once you get a tenant in place, and if there's any improvements that you had to do. So it doesn't have as much turnover as residential units either, and higher ROI. So what is ROI? It's a return on investment, another acronym. So it's a ratio between net income and investment. So this ratio is used to determine how much money an investor receives after all the necessary payments have been deducted. So this is determined by a simple equation. So ROI, investment gains, investment cost minus cost, and then the cost of investment. So you look at all of that. So there's cash flow, there's ROI, there's different things you look at. So investors have found that traditionally commercial real estate has the highest returns over residential. So commercial properties typically have an annual return of the purchase price between 6 and 12%. And this is higher because typically residential properties in a balanced market, which we're usually in, is around in between 2 to 6% equity growth. So that is something also to think about. And then tax benefits. So a commercial real estate investor could save a lot of money on taxes compared to those who have invested in residential properties. This is because commercial investors can take advantage of double net leases or triple net leases. And usually you see those triple net leases because they are the best. In my opinion. So a double net lease and a triple net lease are when a tenant rents an entire commercial property. In a double net lease, tenants pay for the rent and 2 other incidentals, typically the property taxes and insurance on the building. In a triple net lease, tenants are responsible for all costs except any structural repairs. So this means the landlords don't need to pay property taxes on their commercial property. Everything's being taken care of within that lease. And the triple net changes year to year depending on how property taxes and building insurance fluctuates. So you got your base net rent, and then you've got your triple net, which is covering all those costs, and that changes year to year. So what is home equity? Okay, let's get into that. How am I going to get money to pay for these investments? We'll use your home equity. Home equity is the value of your homeowner's interest in your home. When a buyer takes out a mortgage loan from a financial institution to pay off their home, they and their lender both have vested interest in the property. Typically, lenders have the primary interest in a home after it's been first bought because maybe you only put 5% down. This is because, over amount of time, though, when you're paying towards your mortgage after the interest, it shifts. But it can take a long time if you're not paying more than your basic mortgage payments. But the financing option. So as you build up your equity, as you pay down your mortgage in the years to come, depending on how much you put down, you do build that up. And especially in the last few years, it's built up so much. There are many ways that homeowners can tap into that home equity and buy a second, third, or fourth property. So let's talk about all of them or some of them. Home equity loans, home equity line of credit, and reserve mortgages can help. Reverse mortgages can help you leverage with your primary residence and get the cash you need to start investing. So first, let's talk about home equity line of credit. This is my favorite for the typical average person. A home equity line of credit, which is a HELOC, is a credit line that homeowners can access by leveraging your home's equity. So in Canada, owners are restricted to borrowing up to 65% of the appraised value of their house. So to determine how much your HELOC is, take the value of your home and multiply it by 80%, subtract the outstanding balance of your mortgage loan, and the final figure will be how much equity that you have to use. But, just talk with your financial institution who you have your mortgage through and let them figure that out for you if you're confused at all. But while home equity lines of credits are very useful ways to finance buying a second property, there are some limitations to them. There's always, give and takes with everything, the good and the bad. Homeowners can only access a HELOC when you have built up at least 20% equity in your home. So talking about how hopefully your equity's grown if you only put 5% down, look into it, though, because the rate, everything's gone up. You hopefully would have that. So you'll also need to have good credit. Obviously, we talked about that a few episodes ago about watching your credit score, making sure you build up your credit and keep an eye on it. So if you should have good credit and you don't, find out why. If you meet the criteria to access your HELOC, there are many benefits in using it to find another property. I mean, the more you pay back your mortgage loan, the more you could borrow as well. And it's a line of credit, so you don't pay on it unless you're actually using it. So it's perfect to buy that, even a vacation property, a rental property. It's a great way. So buy an investment property with a home equity loan. Let's talk about that. So a home equity loan, also known as a second mortgage, so that's what it is on your title. It's much similar to the HELOC, but it's an actual loan. But you could borrow up to 80% of the appraised market value of your primary home, minus the balance due on the mortgage, of course. The primary difference between a second mortgage and a HELOC is that The second mortgage acts like a typical mortgage, as I mentioned, that second mortgage on your title. So hence the name, second mortgage. They usually have fixed rates as well, and come with a lump sum of cash that a person needs to pay back. So it's here's your second mortgage, here's the lump of cash, and you are paying on it from the day you borrow it. That's why I like the home equity lines of credit better, because you only pay the interest on it. You only pay that when you use it instead of a lump sum. But if you need a lump sum for some reason, this is a great way of doing that as well. How about a reverse mortgage for the second property? So, of course, this is a really good way for, you have to be 55 years or older and a homeowner, of course, but this is a good, for a lot of people who have fixed incomes but want that second property or want a bit of a future retirement plan and you don't have the cash, this could be a way of doing it. So a reverse mortgage, sometimes called an equity release, is a loan that allows you to get money from your home equity without having to sell your property. So homeowners can get up to 55% of the appraised value of your property from the reverse mortgage, making it way easier to buy other properties. So reverse mortgages, they do not need to be paid back until the homeowner decides to buy another primary residence or moves out or passes away. They also don't owe tax on the money borrowed. This makes this a great option for those older individuals on those fixed incomes I mentioned, because they can delay loan payments. So there's a lot of good things to talk to your mortgage provider about that. So refinancing your primary property is the last way of pulling out some equity I wanted to talk about. So home equity is a source of funds that can help finance a real estate investment. So I believe we've talked about 4 different ways of doing it here. And so refinancing your house, which a lot of people have chosen to do that in this last year because the interest rates have gone down so much. If you didn't have a huge prepayment penalty, and even if some did, back in 2007, I believe, I did this on one of my properties, and I refinanced it because I was paying such high interest rates. I had a $6,000, so it wasn't that bad of a prepayment penalty. Some are in like $30,000, $26,000, and there's higher ones if you get out of it earlier. But I paid that amount. But after 3 months of paying, I started making money. So I was like, I could pay $6,000 now because in 3 months I'll start raking it in. So so refinancing your property if the interest rates are a lot lower, or if you want to go into that flexible mortgage with only 3 months interest payment only, which is the variable rate mortgages. So again, talk with an advisor on that to see what's best for you, but maybe refinancing your property is the way to go for you. So take the time to look into all those options. I know I spitted them out pretty quick here. But how are we doing on time, Curtis?
Oh, we're getting a little close to the end here.
Oh, good, because you know what? That's where I wanted to end it, because there's so much more to say. But if anybody has any questions, they can just contact me directly, and I can give them a whole brochure and package on it and talk with them about their specific needs, along with their financial advisor and their mortgage provider. We could be a great team and a real estate lawyer to help you build your real estate wealth. And so then we should end the show with a quote of the week.
I would hope so. It's kind of become our thing.
Yes. And this one's from Henry Ford. Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently.
Well, if there was something those early car manufacturers learned, there was a lot of early failures, and they learned from that. He knew what he was talking about.
It's true, and he kept on going on, and he didn't stop. He got back on that horse. So I love that, and that's perfect for this show to say, you know what, don't be scared to do your first investment. Just take the necessary steps. Take that first step and continue taking the steps, and you'll be successful.
Alrighty, well, if people want more information or want to contact you about everything we've talked about today, where can they go?
MichelleCummins.ca.
And make plans to join us again next week when once again we will talk real estate in order to unlock your real estate potential on a show where real estate is maximized. Thanks for listening.